Hello everyone. Welcome to the solution of LeetCode problem 2374 named Node with highest edge score. In this problem, we are given a directed graph with n nodes level from 0 to n minus 1. And each node has exactly one outgoing edges. Now, the graph is represented by a zero indexed array edges of length n, where each entry, or we can say that edge of I, indicates that there is a directed edge from node I to edge of I. And the edge score of a node I is defined as the sum of the levels of all the nodes that have an edge pointing to I. Now we have to return the node with the highest edge score. And if there are multiple nodes available, we have to return which has the smallest index. Now let's consider the first example. Here we can see that node 0 is pointing to the node 1, and node 2, 3, 4, and 1, all of them is pointing to node 0. And here in the node 7, node 6 and 5 is pointing, and node 7 is pointing to node 5. So here we can see that suppose for this node 7, the total node is pointing towards it is 5 and 6. So the summation will be 11. Now, for this node 0, there are 4 nodes pointing to them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the summation will be 10. So here we can see that for this node 7, the summation will be 11, and which is the maximum. So we have to return the 7, which is the node number. I hope you understood the problem statement. Now let's move on to the algorithm. In this problem, the algorithm is pretty simple. At first, we have given the same example in the problem statement. Now, how can we solve this problem? We can basically solve this problem by storing the summation of each node in a vector. How? Suppose for this node 7, there is two nodes which is pointing to the node 7, 6 and 7. So what is their summation? Their summation will be 11. So we have to store 11 into a separate vector. Now, suppose for this node 0, there are total 4 nodes pointing to them. 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have to store 10 in the node 0. This is the basic intuition. And after storing the summation of all of them, we have to scan the array from left to right. And if we find the maximum of them, we have to simply return the index number. This is the problem statement and basic intuition. But let's dry run the example. Now, for this edge 0 to 2, 2 to 0, we have to store 2 at the index number 0. That means there are only one edge pointing to the node 0 and the value is 2. Now, for this edge from 0 to 1, we have to add 0 in the index number of 1. That means the node pointing to the node 1, which is level equal to 0. Now, for this edge 1 to 0, another edge is pointing to 0. So the summation will be 2 plus 1, which is 3. Now, for this edge 4 to 0, another edge is pointing to 0. The summation will be 3 plus 4, which is 7. Now, for this edge 3 to 0, another edge is pointing towards the node 0. So the summation will be 10. Now, for this edge 6 to 7, the value we will store at the index 7 will be 6. Now for this edge 7 to 5, we have to store the value 7 at the index number of 5. And for this edge 5 to 7, we have to add 5 to the index number of 7. So 6 will become 11. Now we have calculated this array. Basically, this array means that for suppose this 0, this 10 basically means that the summation of all of the nodes which is pointing to the node equal to 0. This 11 means that the summation of all of the nodes value which pointing to the node which equal to 7. Now, this is the intuition behind the array. Now we can simply scan the array from left to right and we will calculate the maximum value. Suppose here the maximum value is this 11 and the index number is 7. So we have to return 7. That means for this node 7, the edge score is maximum because the node 5 and node 6, both of them are indicating to the 7 and the summation will be 11. So the 7 has the maximum edge score. I hope you understood the algorithm. Now let's move on to the code. In this problem, the code is pretty simple. At first, we are given a function named edge score, which is the edge as the parameter. Now we are calculating the size of the edge and store it to the n. And initially, our max score and answer is -1. Now we are taking a vector VC, which will store the summation of all of the node pointing to each of the node. And for this size n, we are storing 0 here. Now, for each of the node, we are incrementing the value of this vector VC, which is VC of edge of I plus equal to I. That means node I is pointing to the vector VC. So here, for each of the node from 0 to n, if the vector entry is greater than maximum score, we have to assign the vector VC in this maximum score and assign I to the answer. Finally, we have to return answer. I hope you understood the code. Thank you everyone for watching the video. We will get back soon with another LeetCode solution.